Afternoon, everybody, and welcome to Uncle D's Sports Bar and Grill. A pleasure to have you along today. I am Dave Rigger. We are live at Uncle D's here at 36th Street and Masseny. We are live here for Mustangs Weekly, our weekly conversation with many Mustang folks. A little bit later on, we'll be joined by Michael Lydon-Lorson, one of the Mustang starters who was unbeaten so far this year. We'll talk about his numbers. He's had a great season up to this point. Not on the road trip today because he throws tomorrow at home in a big game against the Chillicothe Mudcats. So we'll talk about that. Coming up with St. Joe's Collegiate Summer Baseball Team, but Mustangs Weekly is brought to you by Precision Tune Auto Care. Assistant GM Matt Tritton's going to join me here in just a second. We've got the GM Kai Turner that has walked in. He'll join us here for a little bit. A conversation a little bit later on, and we'll talk to Michael Lydon-Lorson also. But the Mustangs have had an interesting week. It's been a little up and down week. They're 32-14 overall this season, now 23-13 in the Mink League. They're tied for second in the Mink League North right now with Chillicothe, 2 games back of Sedalia. And the Mustangs still have a lot of games left. They've got 2 today in Springfield against Ozark. They play at home tomorrow against Chillicothe. They're home Saturday against Clarinda, Sunday at Clarinda, and then they have a makeup game, if necessary, on Monday as they play at Ozark once again. So a busy schedule to close out this regular season. And then the Mink League playoffs actually begin on Tuesday. We'll talk about that here as well. But again, St. Joseph now 32-14. It's been a pretty good year, a really good year once again for this team. A little up and down week with the 2 wins over Branson last weekend. They win at Chillicothe on Sunday, but then back-to-back road losses to Joplin and Chillicothe. Got 2 wins last night over Nevada to get their 31st and 32nd wins of the season. Let's bring on the assistant GM of the St. Joseph Mustangs, and that is Matt Tritton. How are you, sir?
Doing well. How you doing, Dave?
Are you sure you're doing well?
I feel much better now.
Your little procedure? Tooth pulled today?
Got a tooth pulled this morning.
Oh. Yeah. Well, why don't we just bring you on the radio after that then?
Why not? That's great. You know that episode of Seinfeld where Kramer gets the dental work done and he has his mouth all numb? Talked about that with the dentist today. Like, probably going to happen.
Yeah.
It'll be okay.
Well, don't get...
Perrin Youngblood. It's the guy to go to. Did a great job today.
It's like you've got a chewing or something.
Gauze today.
Yeah, just gauze. Well, it has, as I talked about, it's kind of been an up and down week. Again, this last weekend was nice to get the 2 wins over Branson, the big win at Chillicothe on Sunday, and back-to-back road losses and 2 very close games on the road on Monday and Tuesday, especially the 1-0 loss to Chillicothe. But again, they bounced back with 2 good wins last night. Nice to get the win over Nevada over quickly in the suspended game that they completed last night, and then to win the second game 3-2. But this team they played a lot of close games here recently, and they've got to finish it out strong there now.
Yeah, we've seen them play really good baseball throughout. They had that 7-game win streak, and then that Nevada game got suspended, and it seems like they kind of stubbed their toe from there and playing about 500 baseball since. But that's a loss at Chillicothe that can be deflating if you allow it 1-0. Osvaldo Raya pitched great. But then moving forward past that, I mean, to come out and 20-minute ball game, get that 10th inning over quick. D'Amico comes out, scoreless frame, you come out, put up some runs. So that's exactly what needed to get some momentum back. And then obviously they looked good once again in the late game. Jacob Hurst has really come around late and pitched well and scored just enough to get it done.
How about the pitching here recently? 3 of 4 where the starting pitcher went 8 innings. And then last night, Jacob Hurst goes 6. That's impressive. Then Jacob Hurst goes 6 last night, but then you get 2 perfect innings from Jonathan Lynch. Boy, the pitching, especially starting pitching, has been fantastic lately.
Yeah, it has. I mean, that's what you need to win games in the postseason, right? And these guys have come around, and there were some up and down stretches for it seems like all these guys, except for maybe Michael, who's joining in today. I mean, everybody's kind of had some struggle at some point, but they're starting to put it together. I mean, even Osvaldo Raya's first outing, maybe some control issues there, and he told the coaching staff after, he's like, I've never had a game quite like that, where I just couldn't pinpoint it where I needed to. Then comes back out against Chillicothe and looked great, and so that's what you need. You're getting great starting pitching, and now the bullpen's rested. Not only rested for the postseason, but you have 2 big ones today of you don't know what's going to happen in a doubleheader in Ozark, and at the rate that the Mustangs play doubleheaders, one's probably going to be extra innings. So to have the bullpen fresh right now is huge. 8
extra inning games this year for St. That's the most by far, I think, of any season. I've seen 1 or 2 every year, but not 8. They've had 8 extra inning games so far this year, and some have been in the midst of doubleheaders as well. So, again, we'll see what they do today. They play at Ozark, and again, they play a game Monday at Ozark. Is that for sure going to be played, or is that an if necessary, if the standings determine they need to get that game in?
It's
both.
If necessary. if Ozark decides it's not needed for them.
Because
on
both
their
teams
end.
they're both battling for division titles right now.
I believe Ozark's tied for the
They
South
are.
lead right now,
They
and
are.
we're 2 back of Sedalia and even with Chillicothe in the standings there. So I have a feeling that game's going to be necessary for both teams, unless they both roll to the wins the next few days
Yeah.
and they say, we don't need it now. That would be fine with me.
Be all right, yeah. Save a trip to Springfield, absolutely. And then, all right, I want to talk about the postseason and the scenarios right now. If you win your division, you're going to get a home game on Tuesday. That's when that starts, right? And then if you get second, do you play the opposite division? If you're second in the North, do you play the South, or do you know that right now?
If Sedalia wins the division and St. Joe finishes second, go to Sedalia. So
Okay,
North
so you
versus
stay
North,
in
South
you
versus
stay in the
South,
North.
and then meet up with the other division's champ.
Okay.
So that's what we're looking at right now. Hopefully it turns out you end up host Tuesday. Whoever has the better record there, North-South, hosts 2 of the 3 games. So hopefully you take care of that first one on the road, win the second one at home, call it good.
And Tuesday is the semifinals, correct?
Well, that's correct.
And then
Yes.
Thursday, Friday, Saturday will be the championship series.
Yeah, which will be huge for St. Joe, 'cause team is supposed to be off today, rain out, push a doubleheader today.
Yeah.
Supposed to be off Monday, have to go to Ozark again. So if you can get through Tuesday with a win there too, you finally get a much-needed break. These guys get a day to rest, and then all of a sudden you can kind of gear up and get ready for the final 3 games.
One thing with the race going on right now in the North is Sedalia's got the 2-game lead, but they don't have many games left. So again, if just 2, is that right? So the Mustangs, they've got a bunch of games left. I mean, they've got a chance to catch them even without them playing. So they're going to have to win most of these games.
Right.
But there is a chance for them to catch them. And the one thing that's nice, they've won 4 of the 6 this year against Sedalia, so they can just tie them, and they've got the tiebreaker.
Which I was kind of thinking that same thing yesterday, looking at it, like, you know what? These guys aren't getting a day off, but at least you control your own destiny. You're not going to sit
6
back
games
and
left.
look
I mean,
at the
there you go.
standings and kind of see how. I mean, if you win, you're in. I mean, it works out that simple. And so
Normally 2 games back, that's not the case. But because
Yeah.
they've played so many more games up to this point, it is the case this year.
yeah, and so if you go ahead and get one at least today, take care of Chillicothe, and you feel pretty confident going into 2 Saturday and Sunday against Clarinda, and things feel pretty good at that point. But we'll just kind of see how it breaks. But you're right, you win, you take care of your own business.
The 2 against Ozark, obviously important today. 2 7-inning games that begin at 6 o'clock this evening as they take on a team that is tied for the first place spot in the South Division. But tomorrow's going to be big, too, because Chillicothe is also in the mix. And if the Mustangs can win that game, then all of a sudden they have the tiebreaker on Chillicothe as well. You'd hold the tiebreaker over Sedalia and Chillicothe. If they don't win tomorrow, then they split the season series 3 games apiece. So that'll be a big one tomorrow to try and get that tiebreaker in case it does come down to head-to-head.
And every game against Chillicothe has just been
been a
knocked
battle,
down,
hasn't it?
drag
Yeah.
out, grind out. Even the 10-4 ball game was tight for quite a while
Yeah, it
before
was.
St. Joe blew it up like a 5-run inning there at one point. So these have been tough games, but Michael's faced them once already in Chillicothe. Hopefully comes back, gets the win against them here on Friday. But that'll be a huge game and expected. Not fireworks; those are Saturday typically, but you never know what you're going to see
different
with
fireworks.
Chillicothe in town. Yeah,
Some different fireworks.
it'll be fun.
I could see that. Just 2 more opportunities in the regular season to see this team. Hopefully we'll have some next week at home in the postseason, but only 2 more guaranteed home games, Friday and Saturday night against Chillicothe and Clarinda, Mink League North foes. So again, get out and watch the Mustangs this weekend at Phil Welch Stadium. 2 more guaranteed games at home, hopefully again some next week. And again, hopefully they're playing next week, no matter if it's home or on the road, but you'd love to have those babies at home because the Mustangs at home this year, 24-5. Been fantastic at home, and
Keep that trend going, and maybe even this week, keep the trend going and win it on Sundays.
hopefully, yeah, get a second consecutive one on a Sunday after having some struggles earlier in the year. Nice to finally beat Nevada. Hadn't beat them all year
Oh,
long
man.
and got 2 last night.
That was huge. And that game started out so crazy with the 10th inning ball game. The strikeout looks like a drop third strike.
Yeah.
Guy ends up on third base. I mean, what's going on? I mean,
Yeah, I had to get an
I-
explanation after the game about what happened there.
I know. And at first, I was like, oh, man, these guys, they just have some kind of voodoo on our team.
right.
Like, what's going on right now? But, no, it's a wild game.
Got the win 10-9 in 10 innings. Again, it took 2 weeks to get it in, but they got it in and got it done. And then, again, they only had 2 hits in 8 innings last night, but there was 1 inning where they had 5 consecutive hits. They scored 3 in a row. That was all they needed last night. Got a 3-2 victory against the Nevada Griffins. Again, the Mustangs now 32-14. It's been a great year. 23-13 in Mink League play. And in most years, that's probably good enough for first place. But right now, they're battling with 2 good teams in Sedalia and at Chillicothe. Thanks, my man. Appreciate you. Hopefully you feel a little better throughout the day.
Feel great now I saw you.
Does it hurt?
No, it's fine.
Good.
Yeah.
Did they put you under?
No.
Shoot you up?
Give me a shot in the top of the mouth. Call it good.
I'm not a big fan of dentists and teeth, and
they're great.
This makes me cringe. Well, good luck the rest of the day.
I'll give you the details later.
Thanks. That is Matt Tritton, the Assistant General Manager of the St. Joseph Mustangs. St. Joe's Collegiate Summer Baseball team on the road tonight. We'll talk about that as they play at Ozark and then back at home Friday and Saturday night to take on Chillicothe and Clarinda. We'll come back with our player segment. Michael Ladden-Lorson is in the building today. We'll talk to him as we continue from Uncle D's Sports Bar and Grill. It is Mustangs Weekly, brought to you by Precision Tune Auto Care here on ESPN 1550.
Search blues, baby, my website is not showing up alright. Oh, I've been buried on the 5th page, stuck in the Stone Age with those Google search blues. Google search blues. Oh,
baby, you know I love you, but it's time for us to go our separate ways. It's not you, it's me. I can't take care of you the way you need, so I'm handing you over to another man, Jess with Eagle Web Services. He'll take you in his loving arms and get you to the first page of Google, JESS, at eaglewebservices.com.
no more Google search blues. Oh, yeah.
Water. You rely on it daily, but what do you really know about it? There is so much more to H2O than you realize. Did you know that tap water provides us with a low-cost way to stay hydrated, public health and fire protection, and nearly every product that we use every day? The more you know about your H2O, the more there is to love. To learn more, visit drinktap.org. This message is brought to you by the American Water Works Association and your local water provider.
We continue. Bar and Grill. I am Dave Riggert. This is Mustangs Weekly, our weekly show talking St. Joseph Mustangs baseball. The St. Joe's Collegiate Summer Baseball team is 32-14 this year. They are 23-13 in Mink League play. Tied for second right now in the Mink League North. And again, the top two teams get into the Mink League playoffs. They're 2 games back of Sedalia, but tied with Chillicothe. And they get the Mudcats tomorrow, and my next guest will be pitching in the game tomorrow. So he is not on the bus to Springfield, and I'm guessing that's probably okay with you, isn't it?
Yeah, that's perfectly okay. Absolutely. That's a long trip.
It is a long trip, and it'd be a long day with a couple of games down there, especially when they start at 6. But Michael Ladden-Lorson is our guest, and he's had a great year for the Mustangs. Plays at Rockhurst University in Kansas City. From Wildwood, Missouri, went to Eureka High School. He is 3-0 so far this year with a 2.55 ERA and a whip of 0.74. So he has been fantastic. Really had one batting all year, and that's it. Everything else has been 2 runs or less, 7 innings or more, and it's been fantastic. We'll talk to Michael about that. Our last guest is a pretty big Cardinals fan, and he's a pretty big Adam Wainwright fan. I've heard that you're similar, so he told me that you are a fantastic kid because you love the Cardinals and you love Adam Wainwright. Is that accurate?
That's accurate. Yeah, Adam Wainwright was the pitcher I watched growing up. Most, just the way he goes about the game, the way he pitches, growing up in St. Louis. Ever since I became a pitcher, he was the guy that I looked up to.
How come?
I think just the way that, first of all, his attitude, the way he goes about the game, you see him all the time. He's a great teammate in the dugout in the clubhouse, and real active in the community in St. Louis. And then he goes out there and he's an absolute bulldog on the mound. He throws strikes. He throws multiple pitches for strikes. He's just the ultimate competitor. So watching him, seeing how he just goes about the game, seeing how he competes, and really is a leader for the team. Him and Yadier have been there the longest. So the way that they work together, just the way that they kind of carry the team and lead the team. Growing up as a Cardinal fan, he's got to be your man.
And now he's dealing right now. I think he's only out of 1 run in 23 innings or something right now, so he's got it back on track after some struggles in the first part of the season. But he's on the mound, ironically, tonight. He takes the mound against the Padres this evening, and we'll actually have the game right here on ESPN 1550 as the Cardinals play the Padres to try and sweep them in those 4 games. Have you always been a Cardinals fan? Growing
Yes,
up in
yes.
that area?
Absolutely, yes.
Did you grow up around St. Louis and just in that area? Have you always lived there your entire life?
Yep. Born and raised in Wildwood. It's about 40 minutes outside of St. Louis. So it's a nice drive from downtown, and here to Cardinal games. So every time I'm home, make sure to
Try and
hit
get
up a
back to
couple
one?
games. Absolutely, yeah. I was home in between spring ball and summer ball. I was home for about 12 days. I think it made it out to 5 or 6
Did you?
games. So, yeah, that's our family's favorite thing to do is go out to Busch Stadium.
Were you a Rams fan? Are you a Rams fan? Are you mad they left?
I was a Rams fan. I guess growing up more with the Greatest Show on Turf. I
Yeah.
loved watching Kurt Warner and Marshall
Easy to
Faulk
fall in
and-
love with that group, right?
Absolutely, yeah. But as they kind of tapered off there in the late 2000s, I think it's fair to say that my passion for the Rams kind of died off a bit. So, I think a little bit disappointed that they left, just because they were a big part of my sports fan group growing up or whatever. I liked watching them, but I'm not devastated that they're gone. So I think Cardinals and Blues are kind of taking over St. Louis.
I was going to say the Blues had a great run this year, too. Are you a
yeah.
Blues fan?
I watch them in the playoffs. To be honest, I'm not a huge hockey
Yeah.
fan. Really or a huge baseball fan, but not a huge hockey fan. But once they're on in the playoffs, the whole city kind of gathers around them. So I don't know if I'd call it a bandwagon fan, but I like watching them in the playoffs.
We're talking to Michael Lyden-Lorson. He's from the St. Louis area, grew up in Wildwood, went to Eureka High School. Now he's at Rockhurst University. He'll be a senior there in the fall, and he's been a starting pitcher this summer for the Mustangs. In 5 outings, again, he has gone 7 or more innings in 4 of the 5. Just had the one hiccup on the road when 4 1/3 gave up 7. But other than that, you've allowed 2 runs or less, 5 hits or less in all of the games. Tell me about your summer. Have you been happy with how things have gone?
Yeah, like you said, that one little hiccup in Nevada, it happens. But other than that, I felt pretty confident on the mound. Just throwing a lot of strikes is the biggest thing. When you're throwing strikes, you're gonna have a lot of success. So, especially at home, just feel real comfortable, real confident. We got a great group of guys, and Blake Hardigree is the one that calls our games, and he has a lot of confidence in really all of my pitches, and he's confident to throw pitches in multiple counts, and so just throwing strikes and being confident on the mound has kind of been the biggest thing that I would attribute to the success this season.
Only 6 walks all year long, I'm guessing, and your whip is at 0.74. That's got to be something that you're pretty proud of right now, isn't it? Because, again, this staff has had some trouble with walks. There have been way too many this year. You've limited those. I'm guessing that's one area you probably take a lot of pride in.
Absolutely, yeah. That's the main thing I look for is walks and strikeout to walk ratio. So
29-6 this season, so it's very good.
yeah, and just growing up, that was one thing I was always, I wasn't always the hardest thrower. My breaking stuff was never the nastiest, but pretty much every team I've always been on, the one thing I've taken a lot of pride in is limiting walks and limiting those free passes. And especially in, that stretch, that little rough stretch we had last week where, pitchers were walking a lot of guys and, giving up a lot of free passes. And then I went out on Friday, and the main thing that, coaches were telling us was, let's just go at them.
Yeah.
Let's attack the hitters. Let's not put them on for free. And our pitching coach, Blake Hardigree, said, if you don't walk anyone this game, I'll take you out to lunch. So we went to 54th Street Bar and Grill the other day.
I was going to say 9K, 0 walks in 8 innings. That works.
Yeah, that'll work just fine.
Just 2 hits allowed in that gem again. Did you want to go out for the 9th inning? Did you want to close that baby out?
Yeah, I'm not going to lie. I mean, my family was at that game for the first time. That was the first time they saw me pitch this summer.
Was
so, they were there, and it would have been nice to throw a complete game. But, at the same time, there are a lot of reasons for why I didn't go out. And, Matt Diaz came in and got the job done. But I think it would have been nice to know before the 8th inning that it was my last inning. But I came out after the 8th, and they said I was done. And I had a little conversation with Coach Johnson in the dugout about it. And I was a little upset about it, but and he was glad that I was upset about it.
Right.
He always says he wants guys to compete for the ball, and he wants guys to, want to be on the field. So, but at the end of the day, we got the win, and 8 innings isn't too bad either. So it's okay.
You don't seem like the type of guy that gets too animated or too jacked up, too high, too low. Is your demeanor pretty calm most of the time?
Yeah, I would say so. I'm a guy that's I'm not too result oriented.
Mhm.
I trust more in the process and how you do things. So I don't get too high on good days and too low on bad days. So I understand that this game is a process, and you're going to have your highlight moments and you're going to have your low moments. But if you rely solely on those, you're not going to last very long. So I think staying even keel and staying pretty consistent, pretty balanced, especially when you're performing and competing. I think that's in the long haul, I think that's gonna prove to be more consistent than riding those highs and lows.
Yeah, absolutely. We've got a Michael Leiden-Lorson. Again, he's 3-0 for the Mustangs so far this year. He'll be a senior at Rockhurst University. We'll talk about his journey to get to Rock U here coming up in a second. But I guess tell us about your journey to get to St. Joseph from Rockhurst. Again, there are some Rockhurst guys that have played here, and obviously Brett Maher's playing with you right now, and so you've got a teammate there. But how did it come about that you played for the Mustangs this summer?
Well, I actually have a good friend back in St. Louis who played here for a couple summers, and we worked together the past couple summers. We actually coached together last year. We coached a 15-year-old team. His name's Spiker Helms.
Oh, absolutely. Everybody knows Spiker around here.
Longview guy and a Missouri State guy. So I worked with him the past couple of years, and he would just always rave about the Mustangs, rave about St. Joseph. He loved his experience here, so really kind of put the seed in and say you should go to St. Joe if you had the chance. So came down to a couple of teams, and I ended up texting him saying, hey, I got an offer from St. Joe, and there's another team I got an offer from. And I was like, what should I do? He's like, go to St. Joseph, go play for the Mustangs. So Spiker,
he's been a fan favorite here around St. Joe for a long time.
I could see that, absolutely. So yeah, Spiker's a good friend of mine, and so he's the one that pushed the Mustangs.
Talk about this team and the chemistry. Again, every guy we've talked to every week has just talked and raved about the chemistry. The guys on this team, you guys get along really well, and that translates to playing well together on the field. Do you see that? Did you see that from day one?
Absolutely, yeah. We have a lot of high character guys, and the atmosphere in the clubhouse and on the field before the games is, we really do gel pretty well. We've got some interesting personalities on the team.
I would say so, yeah.
That keep things very lively. Everybody's always joking about everything. The road trips are very interesting.
That's a baseball team, though, isn't it? There's always some guys like that.
Yeah, there's some jokesters for sure. But it keeps it, it keeps it lively, it keeps it fun. There's never a dull moment. And you can hear some of the stuff we're saying in the dugout. Especially before the bullpen heads out,
right.
Or the relief pitchers head out to the bullpen before the third inning. They're the ones that kind of, I think, carry the spark of the team. But yeah, everybody gets along well, and when you can get along well and become friends with the guys on the team, and have that good clubhouse chemistry, that'll make things a lot easier as you go along. But it's a long summer. It's a lot of games.
Absolutely. I'm sure it gets taxing because you guys aren't used to it. Again, you're used to maybe a midweek here and there, and then obviously the weekends in your spring season. But it is a little different when you're playing every day, isn't it?
Absolutely. Yeah. In the spring ball we play, or for at least for me in the Division II, we play a doubleheader Saturday, doubleheader Sunday.
Is that what you guys do in the GLVC?
Yeah, and we don't really have any midweek games. It's really just those 4 games on the weekend. They add up, pretty quickly. But
absolutely, yeah.
But yeah, when you're playing every day and you're heading out to the park every day, and you're in the heat like this for countless hours, it can take a toll on your body and on your mind a little bit. So I think just staying tough, and Coach Johnson always says if you need a day off here and there, it's no problem. Obviously, it's a little different being a pitcher than a position player. Position players have it a little tougher because they're out there every day, but we're only throwing once a week or so. But still, you're out there every day, and it's a little bit different from spring ball.
I'm guessing you do like it, though, being just baseball all the time, right?
Absolutely, yeah. Again, a little different lifestyle, I think,
yeah.
when everything's centered around baseball.
Right.
But, try to keep a good balance with other things as well.
Have you played anywhere else in the summers to compare the Mustangs to?
The past 2 summers I played in St. Louis in a league called the Metro League. But it was nothing like this. I just lived at home, and all the games were just local.
Right.
It's at local high schools and stuff, so there wasn't any traveling. And definitely there wasn't any fan base to it at all. So this is a new experience, but it's been a great ride.
Does that get you jacked up when you're throwing in front of 2,000, 3,000, 4,000 fans at home?
Absolutely. Yeah, I don't think I'll have another experience like that. I don't think you can really play many places in the country where you're going to get that kind of fan support.
Not even some D1s. I mean.
Absolutely, yeah. So I remember my first time going out there and just seeing all the fans out there. It was definitely a different dynamic to it, but it just makes it so much more fun.
We're talking to Michael Lydon-Lorson, one of the starters for the St. Joseph Mustangs. He'll be a senior at Rockhurst University from Wildwood, Missouri, over by St. Louis. He's 3-0 so far this year with a 2.55 ERA. Only 20 hits allowed in 35 and 1/3 innings. We mentioned the strikeout to walk ratio is 29-6 right now, so he's been fantastic all summer long for this team. He throws tomorrow night, so you can get out and watch him against the Chillicothe Mudcats coming up tomorrow. Talk about your repertoire, the pitches that you throw, and what do you have the most confidence in right now?
Yeah, I throw fastball, a 4-seam fastball, 2-seam fastball, and then a changeup and a slider. And growing up, my changeup was actually always my best pitch. But the past, I'd say year and a half or so, it's been struggling a little bit, and then my slider's come a long way in the past year and a half. So I'd say, right now, throwing my 2-seam fastball a lot more than my 4-seam fastball.
How come?
It's got a little bit more run to it.
Is it?
When you throw that inside to, especially a lot of right-handed batters with the wooden bats, you get a lot of jam shots and weak ground balls. So, especially with the wood bats, if you leave the ball out over the plate more, especially with a 4-seam fastball, which is straighter, doesn't have that run to it. That's prone to more hits, especially up the middle and the other way.
Mm-hmm.
So, talk to a pitching coach. The 2-seam fastball has been a lot more effective this summer. Changeup's coming along well. I'll throw it a handful of times throughout the game, but the slider's the pitch that's really come, I think, the furthest for me as a pitcher over the last year and a half.
What have you done to make it better? Different grip? How has that become better for you?
I think it's a little combination of just my mentality throwing it, but then also a little bit of mechanics. So I used to have it, first of all, I changed it in the spring. I used to have it at the top of the horseshoe, but I moved it down to the bottom of the horseshoe just to get a little more seam on the finger feel.
Mm-hmm.
And then I also changed the mentality of it, of how I'm throwing it, from a pitch where I would control it with my wrist to more of a pitch where I would control it with my fingers. So getting my fingers more through the ball, and that's getting more, it's become a tighter pitch, and it's become a pitch with more plate break to it. So
a little more nasty?
A little bit, yeah. I've had more strikeouts with it this summer than I ever have. So you get more swing and misses with it. It's a lot. That's when you can tell it's a lot more effective. So I think just staying through it more and changing that mentality has kind of changed the rotation of the ball and how it breaks. So it's been a lot more effective. We're
talking to Michael Lydon-Lorson. Will be a senior at Rockhurst, a starting pitcher for the Mustangs, who is 3-0 so far this year with a 2.55 earned run average. And with this club and this down the stretch, all of a sudden you're in this race to win the league championship. Is that kind of fun to be in a race like this, and all these games are so important here down the stretch?
Yeah, it's something to play for. When you're playing, you look at the major leagues when you're playing in September, you know that you're playing for something to play for. And for us now, you go into the last week of July with something to play for. It makes it a lot more exciting. Obviously we wish we didn't have that little hiccup week and a half where we kind of lost first place there, but now it makes it even more interesting. There are 3 teams fighting for 2 spots in the North, and we want to be one of those teams, obviously. So we got a couple big games coming up, 2 big games today, and then finishing out the season strong this weekend. It makes it a lot more interesting when every game becomes that much more important.
And obviously a big one tomorrow with Chillicothe, and Michael will get the start in that game against the Mudcats. Again, he's 3-0 with a 2.55 earned run average. All right, take me back to Eureka High School. How were you guys during your time in high school? Did you play all sports, or what did you play?
I just played baseball at Eureka.
Did you?
Fun fact, I was actually in the marching band there as well.
Were you?
Yeah,
Okay.
I was in band for 4 years. And
so you were a band geek.
I was a band geek. Absolutely.
What'd you play?
I played the bass clarinet.
Okay.
So it's an instrument that my sister grew up playing, and I just took it up as well. And I enjoyed it.
Absolutely.
I'm not going to lie about that. I enjoyed it. It was a fun time. But sports-wise, I just played baseball, and it was a great experience there. We were pretty good. The coach there really instilled in us, a really strong work ethic as far as off-season workouts went and conditioning during practices went. So it was run, it was a tight ship run there. But the guys that I played with there, I grew up playing with. So we were all very close.
Makes a difference. Yeah.
You talked earlier about the importance of chemistry in the dugout and everything. That high school team I was a part of was absolutely the epitome of that, because we didn't have any guys on that team that went Division I. We were all Division II and a couple of JUCO guys. But when it came time for the district playoffs, we really came together, and we ended up winning the thing. So winning that district championship my senior year at Eureka was one of the biggest accomplishments, I think, just because the team we were going up against had a bunch of D1 guys, and
Who were you playing?
we were playing Marquette High School, who was extremely talented team, and they were supposed to win it all. They'd beat us both times during the regular season.
Oh, that was sweet then.
So to come back and win that game really kind of was the highlight of my time at Eureka.
Did you hit back then? Did you play a position?
I did my freshman and sophomore year.
Okay, then they just turned you into a pitcher.
I was terrible. My mom will be the first one to tell you. She'd just be like, every time you were up, I knew you were going to hit a weak ground ball to the shortstop. So
Well, at least you hit it, I guess, right?
sometimes, yeah. But I played third base and first base, I guess, my freshman and sophomore year, and I was just on the JV team. But as soon as I got to varsity, they wouldn't let me
All
have
pitching?
a bat. Yeah, they weren't let me anywhere near the plate.
We're talking to Michael Lydon-Lorson, Mustang starting pitcher, and he'll be a senior at Rockhurst University. And again, you've spent your first 3 years of college at Rock U. Talk about your decision to go to Rockhurst. Go across the state and into Kansas City.
Yeah, so I guess just looking at schools when I was in high school, kind of wanted a smaller school. I was looking at a lot of Jesuit schools as well, Catholic and Jesuit schools. So I looked at a couple of small schools around here in the Midwest, and I was recruited by Quincy University, and I looked at St. Louis University and Xavier. Those were kind of the schools I was looking at. But got an offer from Rockhurst and got an offer from Quincy, and really just like the feel. Both really good programs and really good schools as well. But the Kansas City was a big draw. I knew someone that was at Rockhurst already and was having a great experience. So I went on a visit there, and just to be honest, just kind of fell in love with it right away. It's been one of the biggest blessings of my life to be able to go to Rockhurst and be able to play baseball. I look at that as a huge bonus now. So it's been a great experience for me in baseball. It's been icing on the cake for it.
You've been a starter really since day one there, and you had a great freshman year, had an ERA under 2. The ERA has been in the 4s the last couple of years. But have you been happy with how things have gone for you and progressed throughout your 3 years?
Absolutely. I think those numbers look like I'm almost on the decline, but I almost kind of had a different role going in sophomore and junior year. My freshman year, I was just really trying to improve myself. And, really didn't have that many innings, only had like 50 innings. So the numbers look pretty good, but honestly, I feel like I've gotten better as a pitcher as I've gone along. In my sophomore and junior year, I had some bad games along the way, but I'd say as a pitcher, as a true pitcher, I think I've gotten better.
Not just a thrower, you're actually a pitcher now, right?
Right. So, but yeah, it's been a great experience there, and this year was the best year out of the 3, just because we were a lot better as a team. We got to 30 wins and made it to our conference championship game, which was a really big deal for us. So this year has been the best year baseball-wise, but overall it's been a great experience.
Again, 58 Ks this past year, 13 walks. Again, you've kept those walks low every single year, haven't you? Even as a sophomore, 48-8. Freshman, you mentioned the innings, but 20-6. So you've always kept those very low. You've always been a strike thrower, haven't you?
Yeah,
for the most part.
Yeah, not always a strikeout pitcher,
right?
But always a strike thrower.
Mm-hmm.
So that was one thing I was always good at, even from a young age, was just being able to throw the ball over the plate and throw it where the catcher is set up. So I think I'm
makes a difference, doesn't it?
Hopefully, I'll make a little bit of a transition here. Thinking in the summer to more of a strikeout pitcher too, because there's a big value in getting a strikeout, not letting them put the ball in play.
Absolutely.
But yeah, just throwing strikes, especially early in counts, is something that I've always taken pride in, been able to do pretty well.
You mentioned the team success. You got to 30 wins this year. You had 17 and 21 your first 2 years. That's got to make a difference too, because now you're an upperclassman. You've kind of helped us not establish the program because it was established, but get it kind of back on track.
Yeah, it's traditionally Rockhurst has been a very good baseball school. And the year before I got there was really their first bad year in team history. And then my freshman year, somehow we made it worse, and then sophomore year made it worse again. But my freshman and sophomore year, we were very young. I mean, you look at our lineup, or my freshman year, and my class is very big, so and very good. So my freshman year, we had 6 starters out of the 9, and two starting pitchers out of 4 that were freshmen. So we were a very young team. Didn't really know what we were doing. And kind of struggled there my first 2 years, but now that class is more mature, and we're going to play a bigger role this year. And
I guess the expectations are high with all you guys being seniors.
Yeah, we're very excited. We talk about it all the time, especially me and Brett. It's really fun playing with Brett here from from Rockhurst, and we're very excited about the coming year.
How good, again, this kind of goes into playing for the Mustangs as well, but when you're starting shortstop at Rockhurst has 2 errors the entire year, and now you've got a few guys like that are that talented in the field behind you here, that makes a heck of a difference as a pitcher, doesn't it?
Yeah, I've never had an infield like we have right now with the Mustangs, and you talk about Brett, I mean, he's, in my mind, he's the best shortstop, Division II shortstop in the country. He won a Gold Glove this year, and talk about Matt Wolnick. He won a Gold Glove last year at Division III. So we got 2 Gold Glove winners.
Cassiola, I think he can win a Gold Glove, and I mean he's been phenomenal at third base.
I was talking with Jacob Hurst last night in the dugout. I don't think we've ever seen Cassiola miss a ball. He gloves everything, and every throw is right on the money. So the infield behind us right now at the Mustangs is ridiculous, and we talk about Brett. It's really fun having that at Rockhurst too.
Yeah,
having that sure glove right behind you, especially as a guy that gets a lot of ground balls.
Well, that's the one thing that Coach Johnson's been frustrated with all the walks, because he's just like, throw strikes. Let them put the ball in play because our defense is so good.
Yeah, we're the best defense, obviously, in the conference. And but, yeah, when you're walking guys and you don't even give them a chance to make a play. So.
We're talking to Michael Leiden-Lorson. Will get the start tomorrow night against Chillicothe as he and the Mustangs 32-14. Another great year here for the St. Joseph Mustangs as they are 23-13 in Mink League play. You mentioned throwing against the Wood Bats. Talk about that. Can you be a different pitcher throwing against Wood than what you see in the spring?
Yeah, I think so.
Be more aggressive, maybe?
Yeah, even more aggressive. I think the biggest thing, well, now, I mean, the metal bats aren't as juiced as they used to be.
They're a little more like Wood now.
Thankfully. But, yeah, I think one of the biggest things is you can throw inside a lot more. A lot of times with the metal bats, you can throw inside, and the guy will get jammed. But if the pitch is still up, he can still kind of muscle it out for a base hit. You can't really do that with these Wood bats. You throw inside, and you get him jammed. It's either going to break his bat or it's still just going to be a weak ground ball. So I think throwing inside, it even becomes that much more important with the Wood.
Mm-hmm. Jam them, break their bats, get a weak ground ball like you used to hit when you were growing up.
Oh, yeah, thanks for that reminder.
Yeah. We're talking to Michael Leiden-Lorson, and he has to start tomorrow night, so not on the road trip to Ozark, but do you feel like you guys gained the momentum from the 2 wins last night that you can carry into the rest of this weekend?
Yeah, I was talking last night with someone. We were saying yesterday was probably the biggest day of the year because I think Chillicothe was – did they play yesterday or were they off?
They did play a game and won.
But still, for us, that's still a half a game swing.
Yep.
With us picking
gained
up
a full
2
game
wins.
on Sedalia because they were off.
Okay, so yeah, that was big because that if we drop both of those games, we're heading the opposite direction. So with just a couple of days left, yesterday was huge. I mean, it was huge. Especially
that first game too, because again, 10th inning, you never know what can happen, and that kind of carried into that second game to get that one out of the way quickly.
Exactly, and unfortunately, we probably shouldn't have been in that situation.
Yeah, you're right. Should have ended 2 weeks ago.
Probably. I think a lot of people could make an argument for that. But either way, we got the win.
Still got the win, yeah.
Got the win, and got to win the second game in a really, really well-played baseball game.
It was.
A really close game, and we came through there with 5 hits in a row in that one inning to score 3 runs. So really, that was it. And bullpen
really
locked it down, and I'm going to talk about a guy making – an adjustment. John Lynch came through.
He was great last night.
With 2 shutout innings in a big spot, which for him, for his confidence, is huge. So, and then D'Amico coming in with the save. So, huge win. Can't understate how big that win was. So,
was there ever any talk of you? You've always been a starter. Was there any talk to put you in the pen this summer? Because a lot of times, Coach Johnson will talk with your school ball coach or anybody's school ball coach, and he was a starter for us. I'd kind of like to limit his innings, have him out of the pen, and we see that a lot with the Mustangs. Was there any talk of you doing that?
Not really. Pretty much from the beginning, they said I was a starter. They did mention a little bit about limiting innings because I had a lot of innings in the spring. I threw 92 innings, and they said they usually try to keep guys around 120 innings total for spring and summer, and I think I'm already around like 125. So I was able to skip a start. I was supposed to throw down in Springfield my second start of the year, but it got rained out. So they kind of took that as a good opportunity for me to limit innings a little bit, and they kind of scratched that start instead of pushing everybody back. So I was okay with that. But other than that, I don't think Coach Johnson or Coach Burns, my coach at Rockhurst, have any talks about limiting innings or anything like that or moving me to the bullpen. I think for the most part I'll be a starter here for the rest of the season.
Have you ever been out of the bullpen? It's a different mentality, I know.
It is a different mentality. I think I came out of the bullpen, 2 times so far in my college career. once I earned a starting spot my freshman year. I started off in the bullpen my freshman year, but after 3 weeks, I was in the rotation, and I think I've come in for like a save situation like 2 times at Rockhurst, but in high school, not really even. I've kind of been a starter really for as long as I can remember. You're right, it is a different mentality. A lot of times out of the bullpen, you have to be a little bit more, I'd say, aggressive.
Yes, right away.
Just kind of a little bit more, what's the word here? Just extremely aggressive and almost kind of like a mad mentality. Where as a starter, you're a little bit more calmer because you're trying to go more for innings. And so for me, my mentality, we talked about earlier how I'm more balanced, I think you could say. I think that works better as a starter. So I'm not coming in there like a Grant Balfour, just like a hothead coming in throwing strikes. So
we talked to Matt Diaz last week, and he kind of has the mentality for a relief guy, even though he's a starter for New York Tech. But again, he's coming in there bringing it. But
Right.
he can do that for 1 inning, and that's better for him. It seems like.
Right. Matt Diaz, if you're throwing 95 for 1 inning, that's pretty tough to
You don't
hit.
have to
So
rear back and do that for 6 or 7 innings.
Right. So for me, it actually takes me the highest velocity I've ever hit was actually when it was in the 8th inning of a game.
Really?
So it usually takes me a good 4 or 5 innings just to warm up, and then the velocity kind of has a spike, not only velocity but stuff-wise too.
Yeah.
Kind of has a second wind, I guess you
Better.
could say, around the 5th or 6th inning.
What have you touched with your velocity?
The highest I've hit in a game was 89, but consistently, I mean, I'll be about 85 to 87. So again, not a flamethrower by any means. I'm not a
That's
guy.
why you've turned into a pitcher, right?
Right. But if
you're throwing strikes and hitting your spots, that's what makes the difference, right?
But for me, the biggest thing, like I said, is maintaining that velocity and actually increasing that velocity as the game goes throughout the game. I'm not a guy that can come out there in 1 inning and throw 90.
Right.
So I'd much rather be able to keep 87 to 89 for 9 innings and still being able to touch 88, 89 in the 9th inning, rather than me throwing 88 in the 1st inning, and then by the end of the game I'm back down to like 83 or 85. So I'd much rather be able to maintain that throughout the whole game and actually get better as the game goes on, rather than just going out there and doing it for 1 inning. So
we talked about how big these games are. The one tomorrow night might be the biggest. We'll see how tonight goes for the Mustangs as they're at Ozark, but Chillicothe comes to town. I'm sure you're jacked about that one, aren't you?
Yeah, I was excited when they said I was going to start this Friday, just because the way the standings are shaking up right now, that's going to be a huge game. It's going to be a 1-game swing either way.
Yep.
But to have them at our place this time instead of their place, I think will be to our benefit. And
you've kind of seen a little rivalry come about with these two teams, haven't you?
A little bit, yeah. There's been a little
fire?
bit of there have been some fireworks at some of our games, and a couple ejections here and there, and but it's almost been more like a respectful rivalry. We've had some games with some other teams where it's not as classy and stuff, and the stuff we say to each other, but it seems like with Chillicothe it is. It's kind of more like an understanding that we're both fighting for this thing, and so
should be fun then tomorrow night.
Should be a good battle.
Absolutely. Get it out tomorrow night. Watch it. Mustangs at Ozark tonight for a doubleheader. Then they play Chillicothe and Clarinda Friday and Saturday at home. Michael Leiden-Lorson, our guest, and again, he will get the start tomorrow night against Chillicothe. His numbers this year, again, 3-0, a 2.55 ERA. He's made 5 starts. 4 of them he's gone at least 7 innings. 4 of them he's had 2 runs or less. 2 of them he's had shutouts, and he has been fantastic this year. Just 20 hits allowed in 35 1/3, 29 Ks, and just 6 walks all year long. Great numbers. Congratulations so far. Best of luck, bud.
Thank you. I appreciate your time.
Michael Leiden-Lorson, again, a starter for the St. Joseph Mustangs, as he'll get the start tomorrow night against Chillicothe. We'll get a break in and talk to Kai Turner, the GM of the Mustangs, as we continue from Uncle D's Sports Bar and Grill. It is Mustangs Weekly, brought to you by Precision Tune Auto Care here on ESPN 1550. 36th Street and Massena, our home for Mustangs Weekly, brought to you by Precision Tune Auto Care. I am Dave Riggert, and thanks to Michael Ladden-Lorson for coming on today. Great stuff from him as he will get the start tomorrow night against the Chillicothe Mudcats as his season will continue, and hopefully he'll get a chance to pitch in the postseason next week for St. Joseph's Collegiate Summer Baseball team, who sits right now at 32-14, and they are 23-13 in the Mink League. Let's bring on the general manager of the St. Joseph Mustangs, Kai Turner. How are you, sir?
Doing well. Just in case you're wondering, I have all my teeth. Unlike Matt, hopefully the tooth fairy visits him tonight. I don't know if he's too old for that, but
Well,
we'll see.
Probably. he's probably too old for that. He's getting up there. He's
It's a
aging
secret.
quickly.
Yeah, don't say anything. Yeah, he is aging quickly. Look at that beard on him. So,
I
Grandpa
like it.
Tritton.
Yeah, that's right. Are you happy with how things have gone this year at Phil Welch? Again, 2 more games remaining, but have you been pleased with everything here in this 2016 campaign?
Yeah, first off, it's another competitive season, and it's a lot of fun watching these guys battle all summer, and they're right there in the race again. Is what we expect. Obviously, in a week from now, it could be a little bit happier or a little sadder. I don't know. We'll see what happens, but no, we're pretty satisfied with where things are at from a player standpoint. Johnson's done another great job, and the rest of the coaches have been phenomenal. Our community support's been great. We're kind of lacking in the assistant general manager department.
Yeah. I agree with
Again,
that.
not to throw any daggers any one specific direction, but overall as a whole, I mean, it's another great season. Standards been set pretty high, and so
Absolutely.
I think we've reached it. We could just, if we had a few more 70-degree days, life would be great. But the only way we get that temperature down is if it rains, and so we'll take what we can get.
Even last night, it started at 5:30, and there weren't a ton of fans there then, but they did show up for the 7 o'clock game, and it was freaking hot last night, and there was still a good crowd.
Yeah, there was a great crowd. Last night was really a fun night. We had the Noise Home there for our fan
Absolutely.
appreciation night. Raised over $1,000 for them. There's just been, our July 4th raised over $1,000. It was almost $1,500 for the American Red Cross through a jersey auction. And so just, our fans, our sponsors, everyone's been phenomenal and, providing back to the community. And, it's just been, everything's been great. So.
Been
like
happy with the attendance this year?
Yeah, I think what we'll end up as, we've been looking at it. Last year we were at 2,356. This year I think we'll end up right at 2,300 per game, right in that ballpark. Which we added 8. I think we have 8 total Tuesday, Wednesday games. Which last year I think we had 3 or 4 total. And of course Tuesdays, Wednesdays, it's
It's tough.
people got their own sports or any sports organization has a tough time to draw then. And so for us to double that and still have those great crowds and again 99, everyone on the weather is telling you stay home, you're gonna melt, watch out, get your fans on and everything else. So it's been crowd wise, it's been great. I imagine if we took out those Tuesdays, Wednesdays and saw this year compared to last year,
Yeah.
I'm sure it's up, but it's I'm sure we'll be right up there, top of the nation, like we have been for the past however many years we've been here. So
You mentioned kind of the high standard as we talked to the GM of the Mustangs, Kai Turner, and it is high, and you've got to live up to that every single year. But that's probably kind of exciting and fun to try and live up to that, and try and get some new ideas, and try and get people out to the ballpark. And you're going to have your base that's going to be there all the time, but you're always trying to get some new fans out there.
yeah, and that's kind of the fun part is just every year we're trying to do something different, and people kind of think like once our season's over that they're surprised that we don't wait till May to start
No,
this back up.
you
Like
can't.
right. And so, I mean, we're already got some ideas for next year, and we'll develop all those, August, September, October, and get back after it. Just some fun, different things that we can do, and it's a lot of work that we put into it, but it's just a lot of fun, and so that's kind of our goal. Is just each year we want to surprise people. It was kind of a surprise when we hired Matt. There he was.
Still a surprise to me.
Right, so we've added a few things around the stadium. We had a dunk tank this year, and we've got a projector screen for fireworks where we show pictures of the crowd throughout the game. Just small little details is what's kind of important to us. Matt Johnson does a great job of the team, and they got their stuff, and then really our role is to make sure anyone who walks into that game just, is wowed and feel like that's the best, $7 they ever spent for, 3.5 hours of entertainment, whether that's, with fireworks or concession or everything else that goes on in between.
What's been your favorite promotion this year?
Kind of this one just popped up. I'm not a big Pokemon guy, but
This one did just pop up
yeah.
everywhere.
So it was just like, you know what? It was kind of fun because we were kind of ahead of the curve on that one. We announced it, and then you watch the news, and like every other ball team did it, which was kind of cool just to say, hey, we were there, pat on the back for us, and so that was kind of cool to see. It was a fun night. I'm also proud because, again, like I said, I'm not a Pokemon guy. No offense, but Matt Tritton is still a pretty big diehard, and but Matt, put your phone down. We're trying to do a show up here.
He's trying to chase Pokemon up
right. So, but actually, I put this in the hands of our interns because I know I saw them out there. We have a great staff of interns, probably about 30 students that work for us, and I said, hey guys, I don't know what's going on, but here's Pokemon Go night. What are we going to do? And I gave them 24 hours, and they came to me with all these great ideas. It's kind of like a proud parent moment when they come with, hey, this is what we're going to do. And, it's like, hey, maybe we are doing something right here. Just to see them come up with their own original ideas. And, the end result was a lot of fun. People who participated, it was a blast. And, that was a pretty cool night.
We're talking to Kai Turner, the general manager of the St. Joseph Mustangs, the St. Joe's Collegiate Summer Baseball team, 32-14. They're 23-13 in Mink League play. In action tonight in Springfield against Ozark for a doubleheader. They're back at home on Friday and Saturday. What do you have coming up this weekend? Anything special?
Oh yeah. This is last regular season. We've been gearing up for this. Tomorrow, our last dollar beer night, which is definitely a fan favorite. On Friday night, we're also going to kind of kick off the Summer Olympics. We're going to have some Olympic-themed games going on.
Is Matt going to do all the different events?
He's going to represent Russia, and so
makes sense.
We're going to boo him the entire night.
Yes.
Everyone else is America, and hopefully America comes out on top. So.
Oh, they will.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Against Matt.
It might be fixed. So the fix is in.
It doesn't even have to be fixed against Matt.
Hey, you know what? If you want to represent Russia, he chose it, and it'll be, like I said, so that'll be a fun night Friday night. And you talk about, just for a game perspective, Chillicothe, we've talked about it, but that's a huge matchup. Mm-hmm. So it's going to have a lot of after effects after that game to see what's going on here. But then, Saturday's going to be a lot of fun too. We just, if you live in St. Joe, a lot of people either you're a teacher or you work in the healthcare. Or you work at Eagle Radio. And
yes.
So Saturday we said, you know what? A lot of our healthcare people here, they don't, they work really hard for us. There's been a lot going on. We've done something for the police and the fire and, for teachers. And we kind of felt like we omitted the, nurses and everyone else who does a great job. So Saturday we're letting in nurses, doctors, anyone in the healthcare industry in for free. They're going to get 2 free GA tickets on Saturday. We're also going to have our Christmas in July promotion, which I love. It's always the season for Christmas, if you're asking me.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm sure you've got some sweet sweaters you can wear.
I do have a few sweaters. I don't care about the heat. If I'm going in, I'm going in.
That's right.
And so I've wore Buddy the Elf before. I don't know if I have stretched out those tights too much by now or not.
I'm all right still.
Yeah. So it's a family-friendly show.
Absolutely.
And so we'll have a Christmas-themed fireworks show. We're going to give away special Mustangs ornaments for the first 100 fans. It's got Rally on them. So thanks to East Hills Shopping Center.
Nice.
And we're going to be giving out Christmas prizes all night to those on the nice list. So who we play? Clarinda that night?
Yes.
They're definitely on the naughty list.
Yes.
So no presents for them. And,
no soup for you.
Yeah, no soup for you. Or if you represent Russia the night before, you're also on the naughty list. Again, Matt Tritton, naughty, represents Russia. Yeah. So pick your poison.
Should be a good weekend of Mustangs baseball Friday and Saturday again. Those are the only guaranteed home games. Hopefully we'll get some next week in the postseason, but the Mustangs battling right now with Chillicothe and Sedalia. Good to catch up with you.
Yeah,
Appreciate
you as well. You're the legend, so we love having you. Thanks for, season-long show. It's been a lot of fun, and
absolutely.
We've learned a lot about our guys, but more importantly, we've learned a lot about you. And you're just a wonderful guy.
Yeah, I know. I do my best.
Yeah.
Thanks, Kai.
Yeah. Thanks, Dave.
He is the general manager of the St. Joseph Mustangs. Kai Turner is his baseball team right now. 32-14, 23-13 in the Mink League. They play 2 at Ozark tonight. They come back home for games on Friday and Saturday against Chillicothe and Clarinda. They go to Clarinda on Sunday, then wrap up the regular season if necessary with a makeup game Monday, also on the road at Ozark. With Matt Johnson's club playing very well right now. See if they can get a couple of wins on the road in Springfield tonight. That will wrap up Mustangs Weekly, brought to you by Precision Tune Auto Care. Thanks to Kai for coming on. Thanks to Matt Tritton as well. And also Michael Leiden-Lorton's had a great year up to this point. He'll throw tomorrow night against Chillicothe. Thanks to him for coming on. Thanks to Uncle D and his staff for having us out here at Uncle D's Sports Bar and Grill. Thanks to Jim Bly, UClick TV, for having us on the internet. Folks can watch the show as well. Again, I am Dave Rigger. So long, everybody, from Uncle D's Sports Bar and Grill. This has been Mustangs Weekly, brought to you by Precision Tune Auto Care.